Okay, Michael, let's talk about the tight end position. This is a position that at least for the past couple of years, it's been like you get the top guy, you get the elite tier, and then after that, it doesn't matter. They're all streamable. You can go out and play Jason Witten and get a tight end 11 season, which is just kind of ridiculous. You can go out and just stream whoever the is playing the Arizona Cardinals. But let's jump into some buy sell tight ends. Do you want to start us off with a buy and what you're really looking for in the tight end position?
Yeah, so I think the tight end position is a place where you don't necessarily need a ton. You need to see some, but you don't need a ton of stats for you to say, okay, this guy has a chance. Actually, my tight end track record's been pretty decent so far. I got George Kittle the year before he broke out. Austin Hooper, Darren Waller, got them both before they broke out this season, and Mark Andrews as well. So I've had some good success on these tight ends, and a guy that I actually picked up mid-season that was really great for me down the stretch was Mike Gesicki, and
Oh
I
yeah.
I think the way that he's now finding himself in the end zone and in the red zone, he's a target for that offense. They want to get him the ball as much as possible, and you can see that because when you watch the games, he's the primary read. It's not like, oh, let's look around and then I guess Mike Gesicki's open. Now we'll throw him the ball. It's let's run Mike Gesicki on a fade against the corner. Let's post him up in the middle of the end zone and let him beat up on a linebacker that he's more athletic than. So I think the way that team wants to use him, that it's not going to matter as much at quarterback. When you get, especially if you get a change at quarterback, if you get Ryan Fitzpatrick back, excellent. You know exactly what you're going to get from Mike Gesicki. But if you get rookie quarterbacks, they tend to rely on guys that are more consistent and more easy to throw to. So if you can throw against a lockdown corner that's covering Devontae Parker, or you can throw against a linebacker that's covering Mike Gesicki, you're going to target the linebacker because he's not going to be as good in coverage. So I think that safety valve for the safety valve that he'll be for a rookie quarterback, as well as the upside that he has for Ryan Fitzpatrick coming back, I think he's an excellent buy. And I think his confidence really got him to the point where now he's fine as a blocker and he's really going up and making plays that he wasn't making before. He had some problems with drops, and now he's going up and he's really got that confidence to where he's like, I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna manhandle whoever's covering me and come down with this ball.
Man, I love it. I love the call. I bought him everywhere coming into the season, like all off season. I pretty much had Mike Gesicki on every team just because he's such an athletic freak. Like coming into the NFL, he was one of like probably the most athletic tight end the past couple of years, other than like Noah Fant. And then but everyone said the same thing. They said, "Oh, he's raw. He's not going to do anything his rookie year. He's not ready. You're gonna have to wait for him." And then so like everyone said, his rookie year, he didn't do anything, yet his price dropped significantly. And now he came on where we expect these tight ends to break out in 3 years. I mean, he had a full on breakout the second half of this season.
Yep.
I mean, and he was just he was getting so many air yards at the tight end position the second half of the season. So, I mean, he's kind of a guy that has really broken out. Like I think he's going to be in the Evan Ingram tier halfway through
Yep.
next year. I think he's going to be in the like have the same value that we saw Evan Ingram and OJ Howard have coming into this last season. So just love the call to going out and buying him because he has that upside.
Yeah, I think
But
fun player to own.
yeah, exactly. Let me jump into one of my. Actually, I'll give a buy, but I'm gonna give a buy of like a category of players, okay? Because all of these players, I mean, I'm getting messages from people on Patreon that they can pick up these players in some waiver wires in shorter depth dynasty leagues, and that's all these rookie tight ends that did not do anything. The Jace Sternbergers, the Dawson Knox,
Yep.
the Josh Oliver, the Cahale Waring. I mean, all these players didn't do anything, but we don't expect them to do anything in their rookie year. So if I can go out instead of having a 2024 round rookie pick and picking just someone with no draft capital or anything, if I can go out and trade for a Josh Oliver or Jay Sternberger, who each I believe had third round NFL draft capital, I mean, I'm doing that every single day of the week. I think that's the best way you can spend your late round rookie pick this year.
And I think the name that jumps out for me the most off that list is Dawson Knox. I
Yeah.
really like Dawson Knox. I think he'll be great to use in Buffalo, and I think you saw him have some flashes. And I think as Josh Allen gets more comfortable with him, you'll see that more and more, because it's not like they have a ton of receiving options there right now, and like they need people to step up. And so if you can get a guy that's second year in the NFL and starting to pick up the offense, starting to get more physical, catch up with the play speed and the physicality of all these players, I think that's a great idea. Not that all of them will hit, right? They might not hit, but it's a lottery ticket that you're the fourth round is where you draft those guys of next year's class, right?
Yeah.
The fourth round is where you got Dawson Knox, or maybe the end of the third round is where you got a Dawson Knox or Jay Sternberger. And so you're paying literally the same price for that same guy a year later. It's genius. I love that call, and I think I'm gonna go do that as well in some of my dynasty leagues.
Yeah, I mean, in some, I really think you can find some of them on waiver wires if your league doesn't have like a large taxi squad. I mean, it's possible, and they're just great stashes because I mean their value isn't really. There's no way their value goes down. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of at its current bottom right now, and maybe you can pick them up and you wait halfway through the season, get a little bit of hype for them, and flip them for a second round pick. You know, but they're just great stashes to have at the end of your roster. So do you want to jump into whoever you're selling at the tight end position?
Yeah. So who was my sell? Oh, my sell was Darren Waller.
Oh yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love what Darren Waller did this year. He's a freak athlete, and Derek Carr seems to trust him a good amount. You're looking at probably similar production next year, but that's also in the same context where they don't have any wide receivers. They don't have anyone. They have Hunter Renfrow, Tyrell Williams. As much as I like Tyrell Williams, like Darren Waller was the number one target for that team. And so whoever they draft, whatever free agents they bring in, will absolutely cut into Darren Waller's targets. And while he might have some big weeks, I think you have him coming off a top 5 tight end season. He's 28. Like, I would absolutely rather have a draft pick that I can get for him rather than him, because I think, just like you said, you can get such streamable tight ends and you can get such viable tight end options, and it's a marginal position that if I can have a little bit better depth in other places, if I can get a late rookie first for him, which I think you probably can in some places for teams that are tight end needy, maybe even the tight end premium leagues, you can get some more value for him. I think at this point he's probably right at his ceiling again. And so, not that I think he's going to be bad, but I would rather sell him at his ceiling and try and get a Mike Gesicki to be my starting tight end than keep him and like not know what I could have gotten from him. So I'm at least shopping him, if not selling him altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I love the call just because there was nothing going on in Oakland, so they really had no option but to go to him. I mean, it would have been different if Antonio Brown played there the entire year and he did what he did, but he didn't. And I'm going to jump into kind of a similar situation, and I'm selling Zach Ertz, and just almost for the same reasons. In Philadelphia, they had nothing going on. They had no pass catchers. I mean, I think some crazy stat was it like no wide receivers went over 500 yards or something, something like that. I don't know. I don't want to completely butcher it, but long story short, Zach Ertz had his 2019 production because there was nothing else to go there, and I think that Dallas Goedert is going to take another step forward. I'm not necessarily buying Dallas Goedert because I think Zach Ertz, I mean, he stays there. I just don't think either of them have the ceiling with each other cannibalizing each other's targets. And I think that the Eagles are going to have to address the position in free agency and in the draft. This is the perfect draft class to do it. So I don't see Zach Ertz getting the targets he has the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think what's underrated about him is how injured he's been. He's had a number of concussions, a number of injuries, and so he's starting to get to that point where he's in his late 20s. I think he's 28, 29 in that range, and he's been injured and they're only going to bring more talent in, and he's got like why would they risk him? Like, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but why would they risk injury with him when they can roll out Dallas Goedert and save a little bit of mileage on Zach Ertz now, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think another guy, I think this is your last chance to sell high, because he's one injury away from being done. He's one injury away from his value just tanking altogether. So I think all the savvy players are going to be looking to sell. And this is going to be your last chance to get good value, because as soon as those tight ends hit 30, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody's. It's not that they can't be productive anymore. Nobody's paying anymore for him.
Yeah.
So once he hits 30, if he's still in the league, you can get him for cheap, probably get decent production out of him, but you won't be able to sell him for anything. So I think right before he hits that mark, I'm getting out on him. So I 100% agree with that take. I like that a lot.
Okay, I need to know your opinion on George Kittle. That's really what I need to know, because he looks like the best. He looks like, I mean, I think I saw a tweet that PFF graded him out as the best tight end in the past like decade, like better than any season Gronk had. He just looks ridiculous, and I was fading him hard coming into this year. I was saying that I see him closer to like the Evan Ingram, OJ Howard tier than anyone else does, and clearly I was wrong. He just continues to be an outlier when it comes to yards after the catch. And I mean, it's just because he has the talent. So what are you doing with George Kittle?
George Kittle's the best tight end in football.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's close. I think he's well above Travis Kelce. Just from like actual NFL, I think it doesn't get any better than him. He does it all. He's a great block. He loves blocking.
Yeah.
He blocks like a maniac, and then he's also a freak athlete. Makes people pay when he's running the ball, and just So first of all, I just love George Kittle as a player. I think he's young too. He's his fourth year in the league.
Yeah, he was 2017 tight end class. I mean,
there's so much to like about him that. I mean, you're going to pay a premium for him, but if you are in a tight end premium league, or you just don't have that's your one position you're lacking, go out and buy him, because he's young, he's in a great offense, he's paired with a quarterback that's going to feed him the ball. There's not any receiver that is going to take away targets from him, and he's just I just think he's flat out incredible as a player. So I would go buy him like crazy.
Yeah, no, I've completely flipped the switch. I think he's worth it, especially in tight end premium leagues. I could see spending my first round pick on him.
Yeah,
he's a difference maker that you're never going to get anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's he's one of the guys that, even though he's at his height, I know he's going to continue this production for years to come. If he produces another 4 or 5 years at this same level, like, he's still not even 30. You know, like if he gives you another 5 seasons, that's well worth whatever you're going to pay for him at this price. He's producing like a low end wide receiver 1.
Yeah,
so I think
that's just so valuable coming from your tight end spot.
Yeah, so I think George Kittle is one of the few people that I'm going out and paying a premium to get. All the other tight ends I would rather buy cheap and buy upside, but George Kittle's the one guy that I would go out and pay a premium for. Same thing goes for like Michael Thomas, you know?
Yeah.
Michael Thomas is another guy where you saw him produce with 2 different quarterbacks this season, and you're just set like, all right, this guy's going to just continue to produce, continue to give you the goods. So even though you have to pay the premium that he's the number 1 player at the position, go get him if you want him.